When my family discovered cheese chips and pepperoni chips, it was a really happy time for us. Sometimes you just want a crunchy snack, or you want something to dip into a low-carb, high-fat dip. And so pepperoni chips are great for that. And this is an example of pepperoni chip. It's hard. And you make them just from processed pepperoni chips. That's it. So what you do, so these are really nice and crisp. You can use them for a dip, or my daughter just likes to put them in her lunchbox to eat with her roll-ups or low-carb wraps. So basically you just lay them out on, and what I've done is I put a piece of parchment paper on a baking tin. You just lay them out, and it doesn't matter. You can see these are not perfect. These are overlapping. They're going to shrink up as they bake. I've got the oven on at 325 degrees, so we're just going to put this in the oven, and then I can show you in probably 6 or 7 minutes exactly what that looks like. I also have cheese chips, and these are great. Now you can buy them, and they're fairly expensive, but you can make them yourself for really, really cheap. I made these just an hour or so ago, so they're crisp, but they're still a little pliable. But these things are really great with dips. Or my friend Sam Paul likes to put some low-carb peanut butter on them and make what he calls a Lance cracker. And when he first suggested that, I thought, ugh, that's terrible. And honestly, it's really good. So I have to give a shout out to Sam Paul and say, Sam, you're onto something there. It does taste like the cheese crackers that you buy in the packs of 6. But anyway, you can use it to make like a little sandwich, put some ham in there and some bacon, or just nibble them like that. And as they get crisp, they are good for dips too. They're also great with chili or taco salads, since you're not using chips for taco salads. And this is the same kind of thing. I just used a different cheese. I used a jalapeno cheese for that. And you can see the crisps that makes. These are really good. The darker they get, the crispier they get. And they're perfect, like I said, with taco salads or any kind of snacky things. So we're going to make those real quick. I'm going to show you a couple of options. The other thing you can do is, if you have a big piece of cheese, you can make a taco shell. And basically when you take it out of the oven, it's still very pliable. You want to hang it over something. I've hung it over this spatula between 2 cans of pumpkin, and it makes a taco shell. So you can just put your lettuce, your fillings, your meats, stuff like that, and eat it like a taco. Or you can drape it over a bowl. So if we inverted this, you could drape it over this, and it would make like a taco cup. That's another option. So all kinds of fun things. Who knew? It's cheese. All kinds of fun things that you can do with cheese for a snack. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 types of cheese here. I've got the cheddar. Now, this was on sale. Usually I don't use this. It's really kind of thick, and so it needs more room to slide out than you would normally give it. Otherwise, it's going to melt into one kind of singular blob, and you don't want that. This is just a cheddar cheese. This is a Colby Jack. Love Colby. That's one of my favorites. And then the family really loves this. This is the jalapeno. So I'll make sure I do a little more of those. And again, these were on sale such that it ended up being cheaper to buy this than to buy a big block. And so I'm going to put those in the oven real quick so I can show you what that looks like in just a few minutes. Okay, but if you don't have that, you can just use a regular block of cheese and whatever is your favorite. This is kind of a crumbly cheddar, and look at this. It doesn't have to be a perfect slice. You can even put a couple of little slices together in like a pile. And if you have shredded cheese, that works too. So that little pile will become one cracker, and then I'll make another little pile, and that will melt into one cracker. It's so simple. That's a really nice raw milk cheddar. This is a different type of cheddar, and you can see I'm not cutting it perfectly, but you can just cut it into little pieces, put them side by side however you want them, and you can make, whoops, the dog's gonna enjoy that one. You can make whatever size you want. I put those 2 together. This is a funky shape, so I'll put all the little funky shapes together. How's that? And then that little pile, I'll mix that little cheese up. It doesn't matter, it's all gonna melt. It'll be happy. This is a wonderful Parmesan Gouda from Trader Joe's. We happen to be up there, and this was one of my daughter's favorites. And every cheese, you'll see as you make these crackers, every cheese kind of has its own personality when it melts. We've never been disappointed yet, and I don't think you will be either. And again, you can see I'm not cutting this perfectly by any stretch, and it'll be fine when you see it all melted. Another thing that you can do is you can buy, if you buy the sliced cheese from the deli, this is a Munster cheese. This is already in the big pieces, so this would be ideal for making the taco shells because it's going to melt out quite, much, much larger. Or take your pizza cutter and you can cut it into 4s. The only problem with making these is portion control, because you start enjoying them, and then at least for me, I realize I've eaten more than my 4 ounces of cheese when I do this. So that's it. That's all you do for cheese chips. And since I have the room, I'm going to put this on here. Again, you use shredded cheese, you use cheese off a block. Usually I use the cheese off a block because quite honestly, it's less expensive to do that. I don't like to buy the store-bought shredded because it often has cornstarch and other fillers to keep it from clumping, and we try to avoid that. But this is so, so, so easy, and I think you'll like it. So let's pause the video, put this in the oven, and then I'll show you what we have. Okay, so we took our cheese chips out of the oven, our pepperoni chips. And these are great. You can see they do shrink quite a bit, but they are so tasty. And when they are done, we'll add them in, or once they've cooled completely, we'll add them into our bowl of chips. This is so easy. You can buy a package of pepperoni for about $3 on sale, or we can here, and that's it. That's all you do to make your pepperoni chips. Again, my daughter loves to put these in her lunch, and I bake them at 325, 350 usually, depending on what else is in the oven, and they go for 10 to 12 minutes, and that's it. Could not be simpler, and they are crunchy. You can see from that. The cheese chips we took out. I could bake them longer and get them more brown, and some people do. This is the jalapeno cheddar. This is and you can tell they stuck together a little. That's okay. These were really thick cuts. This is the Colby Jack. I could turn it over, put it back in the oven. I don't have to. If you don't want to put them in the oven, you can microwave them. Just make sure you're using parchment paper when you do this. You don't want to use wax paper. It will make a complete mess if you try to use wax paper. So make sure you're using parchment paper. And then this, you can see that was thinner on the end, and it's already crispy. This is just the plain cheddar. And again, that was really much thicker than I usually do. These two stuck together, so if you wanted to take it and drape it like we did before, you can make a small taco shell out of that. Or put your peanut butter in there or your ham and have your little ham and cheese sandwich. Now, as it cools, they will get crisper. That was so crisp it broke off, so it won't be as pliable as it cools. And you can put it in longer. I do 10 to 12 minutes. You can put it in longer if you want it crisper. My daughter does not care for these. I love them. So it's a shame that she doesn't like them. My husband's not crazy about them. He likes the jalapeno ones, I think, better than the other. So I hope that you can make these for your family and that you all will enjoy them too.